I like the fisheye on this camera because my hands look massive. Look how big my hand is. Hey everybody, welcome back to Screen Weens.
Yes.
The only podcast. Today,
It's the only one.
we're doing an actor deep dive.
Yeah,
First one of its kind.
that it is.
Soon to be last, because we're closing up shop.
Oh,
Just kidding.
It's like, are we ending that fast?
Done. We're done with Screen Weens.
John Candy was it. We peaked.
We peaked. All these movies were exceptional films. Anyway,
Yeah.
I realized that, so you had seen 4 of the 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I had at least partially seen those same 4.
Oh, okay.
As soon as I started The Great Outdoors, I'm just like, I've seen this movie.
Yeah, no, that was one of my favorites as a kid. And,
Really, huh?
my standards weren't
It's,
that high.
Oof. And then I'd seen parts of Cool Runnings, but
Yeah.
and Only the Lonely, which is the one that I just watched. That was the last one I watched. Was the only one I haven't seen.
Yeah,
And it
same
has the
here.
girl from Breakfast Club in it, Allie something.
Yeah, I'm not sure her name. She's good in this movie.
Yeah.
So.
She's very attractive.
Yeah.
But not as attractive as John Candy, if you know what I'm saying. When he has the drill in Uncle Buck.
Oh.
Oh. Oily, oily.
Uncle Buck was probably, out of all these movies, the one I watched the most as a kid, but I
Me
haven't
too.
seen it since I was a kid, so, like, some of the scenes in the movie, like, when he first wakes up, when he's getting the call, I just got, like, this nostalgic awakening, and I was just like, oh, shit.
I'm pretty sure Uncle Buck was the only one of these that I owned. I had it on DVD, so I watched a shit ton. Yeah, none of, like, I'd only seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I think once or twice prior. And then The Great Outdoors I saw a lot, but I think it was on television.
Oh, yeah.
It was on, like, TBS or some shit, but it was on a lot, I'm pretty sure, because I remember vividly watching it once we started. I was like, oh, all these emotions. I'm like, no!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a movie.
I guess, technically.
It was kind of... This could have just been a John Hughes episode.
Pretty
'Cause,
close. Most of them.
He directed 2 of them, he wrote The Great Outdoors, and he produced Only the Lonely.
Yeah.
The only thing he didn't have anything to do with was Cool Runnings. Which, was the best one. Spoiler.
Oh,
Maybe.
did you say was?
I'll just say it now. I probably think that was probably my favorite of all of them.
I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite, but it's up there.
It's classic.
But yeah,
It might be the only one I can now say is I still think could class. I don't know. I didn't hate anything. Well, no, one of these movies I hated.
Yeah, there's only one I have a kind of strong dislike for, and there's one that I think overall is pretty good, but has a couple things that really hold it back.
Oh,
And then-
overall, I was just kind of disappointed in the day. Not that I thought... I thought one of these was really bad, and I thought one was bad, but had, like, some things going for it. And then, like, the other 3... 2 of those other 3, I, like, really liked as a kid. Now I'm just like, these are still, like, good, but it just isn't as engaged. I just don't...
Yeah.
Maybe John Hughes is just not a good creator.
John
he just
Hughes
makes the same fucking story.
Yeah, John Hughes was a director that when I was 12, I revered as like, oh, he's one of the greats, the greatest, you know, because he had a lot of big, you know, pop culture films under his belt. 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Home Alone, just to name the big handful. But it's like looking at it as an adult and in hindsight, his movies are very by the numbers. They're very like manipulative in the most basic way, where they'll just kind of cue like sad music and a character will give a sad monologue. And you can tell that like just by looking at his career path that like by the end he was run dry. Like he started making movies like Baby's Day Out after like Home Alone, trying to cash in on like that movie's commercial appeal. So it's just like,
did he make Baby's Day Out, or did he just like
he might have just produced it? But
like, if you look at his directing films, he directed only 8 movies.
Oh, okay.
He didn't like, and some of those big ones he didn't even direct. Like Pretty in Pink, he didn't direct. That was from the director of
oh, okay.
The Great Outdoors. I'm pretty sure he did Pretty in Pink.
I always assumed that was him.
Howard Deutsch, but he wrote that one. And like it still feels like a fucking, you know, thing. He didn't direct either of the first 2 Home Alones. That was Chris Columbus.
Oh yeah.
But it sure feels like a fucking John Hughes movies at times. But in general, like I still think I really like The Breakfast Club still.
The Breakfast Club, I have complicated feelings on. I think it's a decent movie. I don't fault anyone who likes it. I've kind of got Princess Bride syndrome with it, where it's just like I'm so fatigued with how many people like it and how many references I see to it all the time that it affects my overall enjoyment of the movie.
I try to stop those feelings from happening because I get it. I get feeling that way, but I try to not let annoying people cloud my judgment. But I get it.
Yeah. I've also seen it a lot, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot, but I just genuinely enjoy it.
And I totally get it. And I can still, like, enjoy it. It's not like I put on The Breakfast Club or someone puts it on and I'm like,
shut the
this
fuck
movie.
up!
Like, I'll be fine. In fact, I'll probably mildly still enjoy it. It's just a little, like, ringing voice in the back of my head. I don't know.
But yeah, just John Hughes, it's just so much of the same story elements in all of these films, pretty much.
Yeah.
Even in Cool Runnings, actually. He wasn't even related to that, but it has some similar vibes at times. And I'm just like, I need to run away.
Yeah. I was going on Letterboxd and I was looking at a couple reviews for Cool Runnings, and one of them was like, this is like somebody wanted to make Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, but target it at a family-friendly audience. I was like,
I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Cool Runnings was cool. I'm glad we watched that one.
Yeah, no, it's a good movie.
It was just kind of fun, you know? Like,
it's fun. It's got a good message. It's a lighthearted enough movie. Like, it's good.
In general, I feel like my big problem with John Hughes movies is, like, the conflict in it is just always so artificial. At least in these. Like, Breakfast Club, I think, is fine because it's more based around where they are. I'm like, that makes sense. But in fucking Uncle Buck, the whole plot line with, like, Marcy, I'm just like, what the fuck?
That's the older one, right?
Yeah. That's
like
no, Marcy's the neighbor.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
In general, his
right.
personal life, I just didn't really feel like it was even a needed plot element.
I like his like girlfriend, the tire lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that whole Marcy plot is awkwardly introduced, and then it's she pops up one more scene, and that's it. She's just like, I'm just gonna go home and wait for the FedEx guy. And it's just like...
That could be you.
What do you mean? It already is.
Introducing Thomas's new job working at FedEx. Oh!
No.
They're the best. Nope. I could get you a job at FedEx.
Could you?
Yeah. It'd be the one up here, though. Maybe. You want a job at FedEx?
Maybe. It might be something I'd consider. But
instead, we're going to start a pizzeria. But every time you order a pizza, you got to sing the entire Pizza Time theme song from the Spider-Man 2 video game. You got to sing it with your mouth, your vocal cords. You got to go...
There you go. And if you do that, you get a free pizza.
No, that's just when you order a pizza. You have to pay for it, but you also have to do that.
Okay. That's probably good thinking.
I got a new phone case. My other phone case was falling apart.
I've got the same phone case.
Monkey the Luffy!
Oh.
Yeah. Have you done anything else this week?
Not really. I played some Fortnite and some Dark Souls.
Fortnite! Yeah. Is it still... Galactus is going on right now, right?
No, it ended. They've got a Mandalorian theme going on currently.
Somehow, Palpatine has returned.
Oh, yes. It's kind of lame, though. I haven't watched much of any of The Mandalorian, but...
Is it spoilery?
No. So I don't know, like, what characters that they have that are actually from The Mandalorian, but it looks like they only have, like, one or two. So it's like, oh, The Mandalorian Bounty Hunter season, but it doesn't seem like there's actually that much in regards to that. So it's kind of lame in that department, but...
Let's check. Fortnite. But, seems like it just added the child in The Mandalorian.
The Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't there when I played the other day, so...
It has a name now.
Don't tell me.
I'm not going to. It's a great name, though. It's something I would come up with.
It's like Smeeksmog or something?
Yo, that's a good name. But no, it's not Smeeksmog.
Damn.
Fuck!
Oh, maybe next time.
I need to get a meeting with Lucasfilms and be like, I need you to let me make the Salacious B. Crumb movie.
They aren't doing anything with it. Why not?
It'll be like a prequel where he's secretly a Jedi. We'll make him a Jedi. I'll just make a movie to piss off toxic Star Wars fans.
There we go.
Salacious B. Crumb will actually be Darth Sidious.
I should have known. Is he like...
It's by the like What?
Is he just a really, really old Darth Sidious that traveled back in time?
That's exactly it. He's just gotten really, really wrinkled. He's like beef jerky.
Yeah, because they, like, you get shorter, like, when you get older.
He got so old just to travel back in time and then get blown up on a yacht.
No, he survived that.
He did.
That'll be season 2. Season 1 will be the prequel that shows him in the future, eventually coming back to the past. And then season 2 will be his, like, from post-return Jedi.
Where he's the one that gets Boba Fett out of the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. Is that something that actually canonically happens now?
I don't know. I'm not going to confirm or deny.
Okay.
It happened in the comics.
I know it happened in the comics.
Why do people... I don't get it. I just don't... Like, Boba Fett is fine. I think Jango Fett's cooler.
He's got like 5 lines?
He's got like 5 lines. And in general, if you want like a nobody background bounty hunter character, IG-88's infinitely cooler.
Yeah, because it's like Boba Fett. Like I get it. Like his initial setup in Empire was pretty like cool. I guess like it's like they could. That's potential. But then in the very beginning of Jedi, he's just like, oh no, there he goes.
He got eaten by a big dog. Have you seen the teaser trailer for Clifford the Big Red Dog?
Yeah.
Looks sick.
Looks bad.
It's a big red dog.
A big
They're not
red
lying.
Dog, yeah.
Did you see the news about HBO and Warner Brothers?
No, what's going on with that?
So every new release next year will be going onto HBO Max at the same time as they go into theaters. So that's like Dune. That's like the Batman. It's like it's huge.
I guess I'm gonna have to get an HBO Max subscription.
Which I feel weird about in the sense that like, cool, I think they should be on it. People should be able to watch anything, but that's gonna be like the nail in the coffin for a lot of like theaters. And even though I think theaters are dumb and overpriced, it'll just be weird that eventually they might just not exist, at least in the capacity they do now. It'll be something different.
Yeah, well, I mean, theaters I'm sure will always be a thing.
Yeah,
now,
it'll just be... Yeah. I feel like they'll be more specialized, if anything.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like drive-ins have a decent thing going. They only do, like, 2 shows a day, usually, or whatever, but... Like, that's more of an experience because you, like, drive in, you go, da-da-da, look at me, I'm in a drive-in theater. I'm in my car, listening on the radio.
Yeah, exactly.
I can go get a hot dog.
You can do what they do on Monster Squad and just sit on your roof and, like, turn the radio on. I don't know if that's a trick that actually works nowadays, but maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the current system is for drive-in theaters.
They might just have like a smartphone app.
Yeah, that's kind of what my line of thinking probably
But there's still enough old people that probably go there and go like, what? A smartphone? No, my phone's kind of dumb. Haha.
Well, then you're not smart enough.
Can't even play Tetris on this.
There you go. What? I mean, you have to have a pretty good phone to play Tetris on it.
Yeah. Instead, I just play Tetris with phones.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't do anything else this week just because I've been busy. And then you're like, can we record Thursday? I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I told you my days off last week.
No, it's fine. It's all good. We got through it together. I watched 2 on Tuesday, 2 yesterday, and 1 today.
I watched 1 last night and the rest of them today.
Holy shit! That's a lot of John Candy!
It is.
Well, do you want to start talking about some questions? Also, did Tito watch the last podcast?
Mm.
He better have. We answered all his questions. All right. Well, you want the few questions we have from Pierre, and I assume no one else?
Yeah.
Cool. Number 1. What do you think about the hit movie, The Last Witch Hunter, starring Vin Diesel? Have you seen it?
Nope.
You heard about it?
Yeah, it's the one that came out like circa 2016, 17, 15 maybe?
15? Maybe even 14, but yeah. It's pretty much just
trailers
about his Dungeons & Dragons character.
Oh.
I think that's pretty fun. I've heard it's pretty bad, but I kind of want to watch it. I like watching Vin Diesel movies because they're weird. Especially ones that like he has a big hand in because they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I want to watch Riddick for the podcast.
Oh, that
trilogy. Question 2.
I haven't seen the newest one.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't seen Riddick, which is weird. Like, I'm pretty sure that came out like 7 years ago now.
Yeah, it has been a while, because I think I was in at least like my sophomore year when it came out.
But I watched, what is it, Pitch Black?
Yeah,
the first one,
Pitch
and then
Black
Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah, then there's like the animated ones.
Yeah, there's one animated one that's like half an hour, and then there was a video game that I'm pretty sure is canon in the timeline.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I've seen Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick like more times than I can count. And I really enjoy them. Maybe I don't know if they're good. I haven't seen them for a while, but I remember really liking like the wonky world building and just like it was just a very over the top and fun movie, and I felt like they bit off more than they could chew, but in a good way. Like they're trying really hard.
I haven't seen them since probably at least middle school, but I remember liking
them. Let's see. Question number 2. Do you think your favorite movie would still be good with no audio, no subtitles either?
No.
No?
My favorite movie is a musical, so...
What's your favorite movie?
The Little Shop of Horrors.
Not true. If we go to our top fit... No.
Oh, the one that I did out of order?
I felt like you did like the top 5. What did you say for number 1? Did you say Twin Peaks? Did you say like Twin Peaks The Return? You're like, it counts? I might have said something like that.
Yeah. I think so.
I think television shows are just long movies. So.
I think if it's like structured like a miniseries, absolutely. I think a lot of TV shows have the potential to be like cinematic and long form.
I think Memories of Murder would work excellent as a silent film. I think there's a lot of visual storytelling. I think it would still be good, obviously. It's not structured to be silent, but so it wouldn't be as good, but I think I'd still enjoy it. I feel like I'd prefer if there's a little bit of music, but...
I liked like the ambience of like the rain and maybe like the psalm that keeps playing on the radio or whatever.
I'd be a little lost in the translation of going completely silent, but...
Well, I figure if it was a silent movie, they would probably make some changes, but I guess that's not the point of the question.
Question number 3. What is your favorite mythological figure? Should they get a Disney Channel show starring Michelle Obama? That's 2 questions.
My favorite mythological, what did he say? Figure?
Yeah, mythical figure.
Oh, man. I don't know. Like, honestly, I haven't done, like, a whole lot of deep dives into, like, different mythologies. Probably Zeus, just because I find him funny through the modern lens of, you know, he fucks everything up.
He's an asshole!
Yeah. Makes for an interesting story. But, like, I don't know. Maybe, like, Hercules, but... or Heracles, however you want to actually pronounce his mythos name, but yeah, I don't know.
I think Jesus Christ was pretty. God, I'm just kidding.
Judas Iscariot. If we're counting,
I do
Jesus
think
Christ
Hercules
Superstar
is kind of a fun little figure. God. You know, the DDoSer. It's like a modern...
There you go.
Does Ichigo count?
No.
No. He's like a myth. Like, does he exist? Maybe.
No.
Does he exist? I'm gonna say...
Will Smith.
I'm gonna say the mythological hero Hancock from the movie Hancock, starring Will Smith.
There we go.
They call him Hancock because he puts his hand on his cock.
No, they don't. Some guy asked for his John Hancock, and he thought that was his name.
Got him. Yeah, that's it. I don't. Should Michelle Obama get a Disney Channel show? Yeah.
Why not?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be called like Married to a Mass Murderer. Do do. Do do. Well, let's talk about. You want to talk about John Candy in general?
Yeah, sure. So, John Candy, he's Canadian. His father died of a heart attack when he was like 5 years old. Apparently this was something that, yeah, some grim foreshadowing that he thought about for pretty much his whole life. And then, what's it called? He played high school football. He wanted to become pro. He had a knee injury. So he was like, oh shit. So he went to community college where he befriended Dan Aykroyd, who talked him into like getting into the drama department, where he eventually found his way to a talent agency. Oh, sounds like someone's about to take a shower. Anyway, sorry if you get any feedback noise from that.
It'll be fine. I'll use the magic of editing.
There we go.
Boo-doo-doo.
So he basically got picked up and put on. He started like performing at the SC Theater, along with like Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, and eventually some of them got picked for like SNL, and then some who were left over, like John Candy, Rick Moranis, Eugene Levy, people like that. There's more recognizable names, but I'm not going to say them because I don't know. I don't know their names, but I recognize their faces.
Ben Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. Yeah, so they had like a TV show on NBC called SCTV that premiered like after SNL.
You
That's
know
where, like,
who
Bob
really
and Doug
likes
McKenzie come from.
SCTV?
Who?
A man we used to know named Eric.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I haven't watched SCTV. The most I'm familiar with is like the Bob and Doug McKenzie Strange Brew movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
yeah, those are like the mooses from Brother Bear movies. Like same guys playing the same characters, except that they're moose.
We should watch Brother Bear.
Maybe eventually. Anyway, yeah. So he basically blew up, became a big Hollywood actor, acted with John Hughes a lot, and then in 1994, while filming a movie called I think Wagons East.
Wagons East. It's apparently just a horrendous movie.
Yeah, apparently he didn't want to make it. It was some like, oh, sorry,
contractual obligation.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he was a big guy. He didn't really want to be out in the fucking desert filming a Western. But, yeah, he ended up dying of a heart attack in his sleep. He had also had some, like, drug issues back in, like, the 70s. But after John Belushi died, he basically backed off. Which, understandable. Pretty sober awakening. Having one of your close friends die like that. But... Yeah. He definitely made a place for himself. He was in probably some of the most iconic movies of the 80s and leading into the early 90s. I mean, he wasn't in anything like... I think the 90s is when his career started to kind of slow down a little, but he started taking up slightly more dramatic roles, kind of inching his way towards that direction. Cool Runnings. Only the Lonely was another one from the 90s. But yeah. So that's pretty much John Candy's life.
Yeah. He was pretty... For the small amount of movies I watched as a kid, like, I had a small repertoire. John Candy was pretty, like, instrumental in how I was raised. Like, I watched a lot of John Candy movies. Not like a
feel
ton,
the same way.
But I haven't seen, like, all of his filmography, but he popped up a lot, so. It was him, and, like, Chris Farley did as well. I watched a lot of Chris Farley movies, but also both of those actors have a lot of movies that were on like circulating like television networks a lot. So I just ended up watching a lot of those. Like I've probably seen Tommy Boy like 25 times, and I've never once like purposely put it on.
Nice.
It's just like, oh, it's Tommy Boy.
Well, that one's slightly better than Black Sheep.
Haven't seen Black Sheep. I remember liking Tommy Boy. I don't know if I still would. My guess is
it's been
slightly,
a while.
maybe.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't look at it as favorably as I would have.
It's probably not as awesome as Beverly Hills Ninja. Have you seen that one?
Probably not. When I was a kid, yeah.
Classic.
I also saw the Three Ninjas movies and Surf Ninjas with
I
Rob
have not
Schneider.
seen those, but I'm sure they're fantastic.
No.
But anyway, I guess we can just start with the first one. Is the earliest one Planes, Trains? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Hinatea hated this movie.
Did she?
Yeah. She thought it was really bad. And I just kept going, it's a classic!
I think it's got some good stuff in there, but I found myself very fatigued right around the halfway point, because it might be just the format of comedic road movies, but there's a whole lot of nothing going on, and it's just kind of focused on individual scenes while they try to get from point A to point B. Like, that's kind of like a similar thing I feel for, like, Dumb and Dumber. Like, there might be iconic moments sprinkled throughout the movie that I'm like, yeah, I like this scene. But the movie as a whole, watching it, I was just starting to get pretty like, oh. It,
in general, like, the whole feels so disconnected. Like, it's just like, there's a scene, and here's a completely different scene, and there may be a throwback, but it'll be a throwback to, like, the previous scene. You never, like, jump more than, like, 3 scenes back.
And I watched a video recently, that apparently this movie was originally intended to be like 3 hours long, and they shot it all. And there was an actual like edit of the film like that. And you can read the original script, but a lot of the footage, I guess, probably isn't around today. Like, John Hughes was quoted saying that he thinks it's just rotting away in some like storage locker somewhere.
It feels like there's a lot of missing pieces to this movie.
Yeah, there's a whole subplot where, like, the wife thinks thinks that Steve Martin's character is cheating on her.
I can see that.
Yeah, and it's very...
especially
like,
when, like,
that are missing. Yeah. That, like, there are just scenes where she just looks sad, she won't pick up the phone, and it's like, why?
I hate my husband.
With the context of, like, oh... And I feel like they didn't even need to, like, include very much. They just needed, like, maybe a little bit more involving her in order to sell that plot line enough to make it at least something. But I guess they just decided to take the scissors to it all.
Is there a longer cut of Uncle Buck? Because I could say the exact same thing about that movie, that there feels like there are missing pieces of that.
I don't know if there's a longer cut of Uncle Buck, but I wouldn't be, like, surprised to find out that the script was much longer and then just John Hughes took the scissors to that, too, or something.
He's like, movies shouldn't be more than 1 hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah, there was a couple plot lines in Uncle Buck where I was like, this could have been touched on a little more. I feel like they're resolving this plot point without having done the groundwork necessary. Like the whole, like, rivalry between the mother and the oldest daughter, and how that ends at the end of that film. Yeah,
I'm just like, and they're hugging. Okay.
And it's like, that it didn't seem like she got any sort of insight into how her mother feels or anything that would, like, require this, but okay.
It might just be me getting, like, gayer and gayer by the day, but Steve Martin and John Candy in this movie felt pretty gay to me. Especially, like, Steve Martin's on the train going home, and then it shows a clip of him, like, fantasizing about seeing his kids again, and then his wife, and then right after seeing like his wife and smiling, he suddenly starts thinking about John Candy.
Yeah. Fun fact, those scenes where he's on the train thinking of his wife, like, and they're at like the dinner table, those were actually the scenes that they shot at the end of the film where they have dinner with Dell, but they like cut him out of that footage and made it seem like it was just some sort of intimate moment between him and his wife from the past, when really it was shot for like a later scene. Yeah, but they went with a different ending. But yeah, I don't like that scene because it does one of my biggest no-nos with a film, where it'll retread footage that we've already seen and like basically like lay out all the evidence leading towards a conclusion that they want the audience member to make. And it's like, no, I get it. I understand. You don't have to show me.
I don't know. Hinatea didn't get it. But that makes me believe that she just wasn't paying attention. Because I'm like,
it's
what?
He carries around, I haven't been home in years, has like the photo. It's like, I wish you were here now, but I guess that's not going to happen. And it's like, you could like assume that she left him, but it seems...
It seems like he's a little too sad.
It's leaning one direction, yeah.
But I get why she didn't get it. Like, you can pay attention to a movie, but if you're not into it, it's just like you can't process what's going on. It's like, I'm not here. Like, you're here, but you're not here. So I get it. But I still like this movie. I still think it has a lot of fun charm to it.
Same here.
There are a couple moments that I thought were funny as a kid, but I'm just like, that's not very nice. I really don't like the scene where Steve Martin just goes off on like a retail worker. Because I get it. And she was also kind of a bitch because she was just like, on the phone. Yeah, it's like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah, it's like, holy fuck. And then, yeah, but her whole retort to it is just kind of makes the scene worth it. Just, well, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Or the TBS version, you're screwed.
You're screwed. That scene was in the movie when I saw it on TV as a kid. I wonder what they did. I wonder if they were just like, I've been through a lot.
Yeah, I know that they do something else to the scene, and I know that they like trim some of it because they include a scene in the TV version that's not in the theatrical version, where it's like they're on the plane and he's like offering like a fucking bun to a deaf old man who's sitting next to them. But
that plane section was a lot shorter than I thought it would be. In general, I feel like both the planes and the trains aren't... It's not a lot. It's mostly
automobiles. A little bit of walking here.
Should have been called Automobiles, featuring planes and trains.
There was also a bus. They didn't include that in the title.
That's like an automobile. Like a big one.
Or it's like a small train.
Or it's like a ground plane.
Or a land boat.
Or a land boat. It should have been called boats, trains, automobiles, buses, and planes.
Rockets.
Tractors. Segways, scooters, bicycles.
Submarines.
We should make this better movie.
It's just every possible vehicle that you can imagine.
What are the like taxi things you can get that's like a person that are running? What are those?
Oh, God.
One of those.
Yeah, I don't know the name off the top of my head.
Pogo stick. John Candy and Steve Martin must travel across the country on a pogo stick.
I'd watch that movie.
I would too. In general, I feel like a lot of comedy films that I like, or at least like parts of, that the script isn't all that great. And it's just elevated by how much I really enjoy Steve Martin and John Candy, and especially together.
They were good, but I mean, they were no Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis, if you know what I mean. If in case anyone out there is out of the loop, there was this Todd Phillips movie called Due Date that's basically just an unofficial remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I didn't know that, so I was very confused by this.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I was just like,
oh,
have they been in a movie together?
Yeah, no, it's basically an unofficial remake of.
Is it better?
Movie. No.
Is it worse?
I'd say so. But I saw it once in theaters when it came out.
We'll have to watch that next.
We'll probably watch it eventually. But.
Dude, you say that about every movie I bring up. We'll probably just have watched everything eventually.
Eventually.
We'll have watched every movie.
Just watch. We're gonna die, and then
our ghosts will be ghost podcasters.
Yeah, some god or deity will be like, "Nope, you guys have to. You guys said you would watch these movies." Yeah.
Do you mean the devil will do that to us?
Yeah, he's like, stuck. You guys have to watch every movie ever made, including the ones worse than the Trooper.
I'm just gonna say it now. Today's pick, we're starting our Christmas picks today. I'll be doing this week, you'll be doing the next week. And then after that, I get the final pick for the year. And I'm going to make it the worst movie you've ever seen. Or you will have ever seen.
Oh, boy.
So I hope you're excited for that one.
I'm not, but I guess I'm...
But it will only be one movie
morbidly curious. What, one movie for that week?
It'll be one movie for that week.
It's not one of the fucking Channel Awesome movies, is it? I can't tell if you're frozen or... Oh, you're laughing. Okay. So
anyway, any more thoughts on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Any particular scenes you enjoy?
I think my favorite scene is probably the Braun Highway scene, which happens
where they turn into skeletons.
Yeah. Which happens again in, was it another John Hughes produced one where what was the other one where someone is driving down the wrong side of the fucking highway? It was in one of the other ones we watched too.
Was it?
So, Cool Runnings, was it in... I don't think it was in...
Oh, it was in Only the Lonely. It was in one of the sequences that he thinks about with his mother. She gets in the car with the drunk guy.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, that was produced by him. He's like, you guys should do this. They think it's funny.
It's a
good scene.
Classic comedy.
I like the scene where he backs up and breaks the motel.
Yeah, and they're just
I like in general the scenes where they're driving the car after it's been on fire, and it's just like the worst little shitty thing ever.
Yeah, the cop pulls him over, and they're like, "What do you mean? It gets you from point A to point B.
Get you where you need to go. Not pretty, but it gets you there."
Yeah, it's like you got no mirrors, you got no working gauges, not a one. But yeah.
But in general, I also don't really like Steve Martin's character in this movie.
No,
he's just kind of an asshole, and he never really stops being an asshole. He's like, "Do you want to come to my house?" But like, he's still been it's just like,
yeah, he never really apologizes for his behavior. He just kind of expects to be forgotten and forgiven moving forward.
But also, like, there are things in the beginning that are completely understandable, and I was like, why the fuck is John Candy's character doing that? Like, when he takes off his socks on the plane, and he starts whipping it, I'm like, what the fuck? Who writes characters like this?
Yeah, no, there are definitely some things that make him out to be like, it's like, what? All right, John Candy's character is just an asshole, but once you get to that, like, motel room scene where it's like, you want to hurt me? Fine. You know, that scene where he, like, goes off on him.
Yeah.
I feel like there was the switch there where John Candy started being the more sympathetic one between the two in the situations.
All right. I really, one thing I do like about John Hughes movies, I think their soundtracks are really fucking good. I really like the soundtrack in this movie.
The one thing that has always appealed to me about John Candy movies, I don't know how to describe it, even to this day. There's something very visually appealing about certain things that he'll shoot.
John Hughes, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
Did I say John Candy?
Yeah, and I'm just like...
Oh.
But, yeah, I think that he nails the kind of... I think all his movies at the end of the day are pretty, like, fantasy-filled movies about something mundane, and it's just satisfying. He nails the aesthetic of just, like, living your life, I think. Yeah,
because, like, I'm trying to think of, like, something specific that comes to mind. I think it's something to do with, like, the colors he'll shoot with. But, like... particularly food in his movies has always looked very delicious to me. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just fat, but I don't know.
And I think in general, he's really good at capturing not necessarily the entire range of human emotion, but genuine joy and happiness, I feel like is captured really well in John Hughes movies, especially when it comes from like John Candy, because he just seems like when he's happy, he's a really happy guy.
Yeah. No, John Candy's got a pretty decent emotional range.
Yeah, surprisingly so. Like, I was surprised at some of the things he was able to pull off and pretty, like, without going, like, overboard into anything, just, like, subtle emotions in this. And in, like, Cool Runnings, too, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, what would you give Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
6.
I would also give this a 6.
There we go.
It's official. What's the next movie?
The next one is The Great Outdoors.
Okay, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's like really bad.
This movie is worse than The Lips and Assholes.
It's like... it feels like a rough draft of a John Hughes movie. Like he was writing it and then is like, I don't want to make this movie anymore. And so he threw it at someone else.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd's character is just the fucking worst, like with no redeemable qualities. I don't think he's very good in this movie either. But in general, I also don't think anyone is, including John Candy. Like, I just feel like everyone's just not having a good time.
Yeah, no, this movie, I don't even know where to begin with it. So the movie, the basic premise, John Candy
I'll be right back. Keep going.
Okay. John Candy and his family, they're planning this, like, vacation out in this cabin that they go to. And it's going to be nice. It's going to be quaint. It's going to be quiet. But then the rich brother-in-law, Del, who is played by Dan Aykroyd, shows up with his family to, like, surprise them. And he's, like, super rich, and, yeah, he basically is just kind of looking for some deals. Like, so, yeah, he shows up and basically makes John Candy feel bad and poor the whole movie. And
then it's like, and then there's the reveal at that, but it's okay because I'm also poor.
Yeah, he basically like went there to offer him a deal that turned out to be like a ploy to just steal money from him. But at the last second, on his way out, he had a change of heart because he's like, well, no, I shouldn't do that. So he goes back and he's like, I brought you back your money, and I'm poor. And then his daughters, his creepy daughters that they keep trying to imply are creepy, but just look very bored throughout the movie.
Get stuck in a cave.
Get stuck in a cave, and
what
in that cave is a bear.
What a pointless ending.
Oh, with the cave?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of acts as a way to get the bear to them, but it's like, I feel like it could have been a much more climactic thing if they were just, like, having to get the bear in the cave. Like, get the kids out of the cave, the bear's in there. Oh no, gotta pull you out. And maybe the bear gets stuck down there or whatever, but no, instead John Candy, thinking they're down there, throws a rope and lifts up the bear, and then he tells the story early in the movie. He is. I mean, he uses a tree for support, but no, I'm just kidding. That would still require a ridiculous amount of strength for a fucking grizzly bear. But yeah, so he tells this like story earlier in the movie about one time he saw a bear at the cabin and he shot it with a shotgun, but like it just like basically grazed the top of its head and made it bald, and then it chases them at the end of the movie. And probably the best line in the whole movie is like, you can't shoot it with that lamp, because like the guy who owns the cabin shows up with this like shotgun lamp and he's trying to plug it in and he's like, but it's loaded. I thought that was like probably the best line in this whole fucking movie. But yeah, so then they shoot it in the butt and its butt's bald now and it runs away. And then they make up and it turns out Dell's gonna go home and live with them. And there's other stuff that happens in the movie. Like, a pretty solid block of this movie is dedicated to, like, the fucking, like, main teenage son's, like, romance with this local girl.
And it's why? Why?
Yeah, it's nothing. It's literally pointless. It goes nowhere.
It goes nowhere.
There's a scene where he's like, I'm gonna meet you by this place, and then his dad, John Candy, eats a big steak.
There's no repercussions for any of these events. Like, no, it's like, oh, she's not there, but she comes back later.
Yep, and it's like, he's like, oh man, well, I guess I'm going now. Too bad we couldn't, like, be an official thing. And she's like, I just want you to go back. Love crazy.
Love crazy. You're not gonna even be able to be with another girl without thinking of me. And I'm like, why? You've seen this kid like twice. Just most of this movie, I'm just like, why? Why are there like 3 or 4 sequences with the raccoons? I didn't necessarily mind them because I like watching raccoons, but it's just like, what?
Yeah. There's way too much on the raccoons for me. I thought the first scene they were in was obnoxious, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. And then I did it like 2 more times. I'm like, alright, you don't have to do this anymore. Thankfully they didn't. But yeah,
there's no payoff for that either. Like, what?
No, they just like break into the house, because it starts off, they like do it once and they put rocks on top of the trash cans outside, and then that doesn't work, so they bring the trash cans inside, and then the raccoons are like, we'll just like break in because we have thumbs, and yeah, then they just trash the cabin, and it's like, that's it, that's end of raccoon story.
And it's just like all of the events, like in a lot of John Hughes movies, like are just so disconnected from themselves, but like none of these events were funny or entertaining either. Like, no. I occasionally got a chuckle or something, but that was like it. And most of the time I was just exceptionally bored. And it was like an hour and a half, and it felt so long. Because when you have such disconnected scenes, your pacing is terrible.
Yeah.
So,
no, absolutely.
And soundtrack wasn't good in this, which was sad.
No,
and it wasn't very well shot. Like, it's just, in general, I can't think of a lot to say good about the movie. It wasn't like the worst thing ever. It was better than other movies we watched on the channel.
Yeah.
For the podcast.
This is what I would describe as a bad, plain movie. It's very plain, very vanilla, and it's just not... You're not going to get anything out of watching it.
Yeah. And it's also like... But it also is somehow the perfect indications of like what I don't like in John Hughes movies. So I guess it's a good example for that, I guess. But I don't even have very much to say about this movie because it's just like, it's fucking bad.
Aside from like going in and cherry picking specific scenes, there's not really much you can say about it.
I kind of like the water ski scene just because like...
Probably the highlight of the movie.
John Candy had some fun reactions.
I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die!
Dad, let go of the rope! But it's just weird. Like, nobody had a character besides John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, and for some reason, John Candy's oldest son. Like, fuck the women in this movie, apparently.
Yeah.
And his youngest son? Fuck that guy.
Yeah. But... Yeah, no, I had nothing to say about it.
Yeah, don't watch this movie. If you're going to watch any of the movies in this, don't watch this one.
What would you?
I'd give this a... Oh, wait, we're doing the guessing.
No. Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thomas, you're going to give this a 3 out of 10.
That's exactly right. And I think you were also about to give it a 3 out of 10.
That's correct.
Or
a throw, a Thor, yeah, I was going to give it the 3.
Yeah.
30. I was going to give it a 30 out of 10.
This movie surpassed my expectations of what a movie should even be.
Yeah, by 3 times.
Yeah, there we go. All right, next is
Uncle?
Uncle Buck. Yeah.
So this was like a classic as a kid. It kind of scared me at times.
It's got its moments.
I think a lot of John Hughes movies in general have like one scene that's filmed like a horror movie. I don't know if he just thinks that's funny or...
Probably.
But I was really worried that this movie wasn't going to hold up. I don't know why. I think I was thinking it was going to be like really mean-spirited. Because all I remembered was like the drill and like him attacking a child. But overall, I think it holds up decently well. Like, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, this is probably up there for me. In terms of what we watched. Maybe. I'd have to... I don't know. We'll see when we get to the end and I rank them. But yeah, no, this movie's decent. Like, it's got its issues. It's not like phenomenal, but it managed to hold up decently well.
It's just
basically. Oh, go ahead.
No,
I was about to basically just describe the basic plot.
Go ahead.
Okay. John Candy plays Buck. He is
Buck Ripley.
He is a bachelor type with a girlfriend. Like, he's been stringing along this one woman for like 8 years because he enjoys the bachelor life. He enjoys being able to take his golf clubs and put them in the back of his car whenever he wants. That's what he says, at least.
I mean, dudes gotta be dudes, you know?
Yeah.
I keep my golf clubs in the back.
But his girlfriend's basically pushing him. She's like, I want to have kids. I want to get married. I want a serious, committed relationship. And so he's basically like, yeah, I'll, because he's got a job. She's trying to get him a job because he's unemployed. But right before he can go to work, his in-laws, his sister-in-law, her dad has a heart attack. So they need him to come in as like an emergency last resort to watch their kids while they're away. And so he agrees to do so, and he becomes Uncle Buck, and basically just kind of helps bring this segmented family together. And by that, I mean he basically just grounds the teenage daughter, because it seems like the other two were fine. But
yeah, that's another. It's just like, why?
They were there for like the fun, lighthearted shenanigans, I guess. Well,
yeah,
the teenage daughter was there for the more compelling family drama. There are some good scenes of Macaulay Culkin
and John Candy.
Oh yeah, I like the initial, like, he comes out and he's just like, "Who are you?"
And he's like, "I'm your uncle."
I'm your uncle. Yeah, that's a fun scene. I like the fucking scene where like, what's his girlfriend's name? Like
Charisse.
Charisse.
I think Charisse.
Where she like shows up to watch them, and he like is like poking through the mail slot. And he's like, "I'm gonna need to see your driver's license." And she like holds it up. And he's like, "No, I'm gonna need you to take that out and like slide it through the slot." Yeah.
I really like the weird little interrogation scene between him and his uncle early on, where he's just like asking him a bunch of rapid fire questions. He's like, "What's your score? What's your high score for consecutive questions?" I asked. He's like, 34.
Yeah, and he's like, "You've got a lot more nose hair than my dad does." And he's like, "That's kind of you to notice." And he's like, "I'm a kid. It's what I do." And it's just like funny little banters like that. They're nice.
Macaulay Culkin was in Only.
Yeah, he was in that too as the kid who's
he was in there for like 2 minutes, but
yeah, he's the kid with a promising potential as maybe a football player, maybe a gymnast. Little did they know he had a promising career as a child actor and a future podcaster.
Brenda Song's boyfriend.
There you go. Who's that other celebrity he dated, like in the early celebrities? Early 2000s.
Was he date a child or something?
No, there was like someone famous he was like with for a while, but I don't remember who it was.
He was with...
Oh,
he was
it
with
was
Mila Kunis.
Yeah. I remember that like right before you said it. Yeah.
He was married for 4 years. In 98. What the fuck? He got married when he was 18. He's 40 years old.
He is.
He's in My Girl.
He was. One of the first movies we covered. Or maybe technically the first one. Aside from like our top list.
Yeah.
I think we...
That was the first one we talked about.
Yeah.
That's weird. Why was that the first movie?
Why was World of Kaneko your first movie? Because
it was a good movie.
Well, I beg to differ.
It was better than fucking My Girl.
It's fair. Anyway.
This is why I'm gonna make you watch a Channel Awesome movie.
Oh, boy. Well...
It's gonna be good.
Put some truly, truly awful shit in the bag.
Yeah.
Some next level awful.
And then the bag won't return until the new year, I suppose. And then we're gonna get it like 5 times in a row.
Probably.
Hopefully. We're gonna change it to if we get anything below a 12, we open the bag.
Anything below a 12, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, Uncle Buck. So I think him and Macaulay Culkin, their scenes are pretty fun. A lot of this. What?
I like the little girl too.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name.
She's
Maisie
sweet.
or whatever.
Maisie, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the scene. It's pretty like over the top and overly sentimental and kind of cheesy, but I don't know. I like it when he yells at the fucking assistant principal. He's like, I wouldn't want a 6-year-old to not be a dreamer.
Yeah, no, because it's like, who cares? Like,
I think insulting her mole was kind of a weird thing to do. Like, the whole fixation on the mole I didn't think was very funny. But
yeah, the very Austin Powers-y, but yeah. I guess Austin Powers happened.
I do not like Austin
a handful
Powers.
Of years later. I remember liking the first two. I wasn't ever big on Goldmember, which I'm pretty sure is the one with the mole. But I don't know if I'd like those movies now or not. You might appreciate them more now that you've gone through the source material that they're based
I still
upon.
need to... I promised myself I'd finish the James Bond movies by the end of the year, so I'm just going to have to, like... I go on break for my job on the 18th, and I don't return until the 4th, so I'll probably just...
There you go.
Probably either... Or watch them.
How many do you have? Like 3, 4, 5 more?
7.
7?
Because I have 3 more number. Pierce Brosnans and then the 4 Daniel Craigs, I think.
Well, hopefully this era is a lot more...
I feel like I'll enjoy them at least much more than the majority of the other ones.
Well, that's good.
And then I'll have watched a bunch of trash for no reason. I can make a ranking video that people will get really mad at, probably, because I'll be like, these movies all fucking suck.
Just make it real clickbaity. Be like, James Bond 007 ranking video hot takes or whatever.
Hot take. James Bond sucks.
Stinky.
Stink.
No good.
James Bond stinky poop emoji. Anyway, we were talking about Uncle Buck.
Yes.
I think in general, the oldest daughter stuff with Uncle Buck feels a little too forced at times, and she's just a bitch for no reason.
I never got the feeling that we got any sort of insight into why her character was acting the way she did.
Because I don't get along with my mom!
And it's like... Yeah, it's like, I need some level of, like, actual insight and reasoning in order for me to, like, truly feel like the character would be justified in any sort of way, but we didn't get that, so I don't feel like she was justified in any sort of way.
But the whole situation with Bug had some pretty good stuff. The first interaction between Bug and Uncle Buck is incredible. Where he's like, "You ever heard of a tune-up?" And he's like, "Ha ha ha ha! You ever heard of a ritual killing?"
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite line in the fucking movie. Or later when there's an alternate interaction, he's like, "Do you want to see my hatchet?"
It's like, "What is that next?" And he's like, "Kinda."
Like, that whole scene. I think those scenes are so fucking good.
Yeah. No, they're the good ones.
There's a lot of, I wouldn't say trash in this movie, but there's a lot of nonsense. But I think the good stuff is really fucking good in this movie.
Yeah, well, what would you say is, like, some of the nonsense?
We touched upon it earlier, but, like, the Marcy stuff, the neighbor stuff is worthless to me. It makes fake, like, you already have enough relationship turmoil just with their relationship how it is. You don't need to introduce this weird element. Also, the scene where she walks in on him trying to fix the washing machine is, like, dumb, I think. Like, he's like, you know, some people swear at their washing machine, but they don't go, "I'm gonna force my load into you." Like, that's not something people say.
It was all very on the nose. Yeah. For sure.
And, that's probably the big thing. And then most of the other scenes, like, there's just a lot of weird transitions in this movie, I feel. But I feel that about a lot of John Hughes movies where it's just like, a scene ends, and then immediately cut to a completely different, unrelated scene. Like, there's never any, like, bridging of those two. It's just like, here's another scene for you. He's gonna punch a drunk clown. That was kind of a weird thing. I don't necessarily mind it, but it's just like, it had no... It was just supposed to make his character, like, "I don't like drunk people when they're around kids." I'm like, fair enough, but it just doesn't really fit with this flow of the movie.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of meant to show his rough edges, but that's something you could have already kind of picked up on without that scene. So it's like,
Also, I'm a little... It's just...
I like the nose, though.
Yeah. The younger kids, I feel like, are underutilized after a certain point. It just becomes the older sister and Uncle Buck show, which is unfortunate because the best scenes, besides the one where he's threatening Bug, are with the younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of really sweet stuff in this movie too, like when he has the altercation, and I really like the scene where he's like sleeping in bed with the two younger kids, and they're just like, and he's just like trying to get. It's just cute. There's a lot of cute stuff in this movie. Overall, I think it's pretty good, and the soundtrack once again is bopping.
Oh yeah, I'd agree.
But
I would give this one.
No, what would I give it?
6 out of 10?
Yeah, it's probably close to us. It's a higher 6 than, like, Planes, but it's still probably a 6. I think you're just about where I'm at as well. 6, but maybe a little higher of a 6.
No, it's just a 6.
No, a little higher of a 6. Is it better than Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Probably a notch, because I have the nostalgic attachment to this one more so.
We're in sync today. What's going on?
I don't know.
Let's see if we can go 5 for 5.
Maybe.
All right, so Only the Lonely is next?
Yeah.
91, then Cool Runnings was 93. Cool Runnings was one of it was
close to his last movie.
4 probably movies he made. Yeah, so Only the Lonely. Man, I had an amazing idea for a movie during this movie. So, you know the setup where he's like, yeah, I'm a cop, and he wants to take this girl out who's like a mortician's assistant or whatever that, you know,
she's
cleans up the, whatever it's called, a cosmetologist for the dead.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I can go on the date, but only if there's no dead bodies. And I'm just like, wouldn't it be amazing if the rest of the movie, John Candy's like finding a bunch of dead bodies and hiding them so that he can then go on this date?
I had a similar mindset where it was like, I just picture like a cop who's like, all right, I got to make sure nobody dies today.
No crime. No, stop. No crime.
Like, no one's dying on my watch.
It would obviously be a lot different in tone to this movie because this movie's trying to be a more dramatic piece at times. But man, that would be fucking good. I feel like that'd be a funny movie. At least it could be.
Yeah. God, I have such mixed feelings on this one.
Me too.
Because I think the majority of this movie, like the inner core of it, is really good, really sweet.
And everything else is garbage.
Yeah, there are just certain like surface level things that they implement, like the flashbacks, or not the flashbacks, but his little
dream
like
sequences.
Yeah, like it cut those out of the movie, and it would be probably a rating higher for me. Because I really like the core of this movie about this kind of lonely guy who finds another lonely person, but he needs to find a level of compromise in order to make the relationship work. Like, I like that stuff. There's personal growth for him, and it feels like a very realistic situation he's dealing with like a really racist mom that he's like,
that mom was fucked up!
Yeah, she was very racist.
Jesus Christ!
Like, fuck.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I also don't enjoy the aspects that he keeps, like, getting to do these big things because he's a cop. And he's like, good thing. I'm like, that's annoying. Yeah. I'm like, I
didn't like that either.
I feel like, in general, I would have just preferred him to have any other job.
Seriously. And especially since, like, him being a cop, aside from, like, getting these kind of grand gestures done because of it, because of his, like, connections with the police force.
This is not negative at all.
Exactly. It's like, dude, John Candy, you're a very charismatic guy. I could believe that you were, like, a local favorite of most of these people, and you could just pull off the whole, like, yo, I asked my buddy down at, like, the crane facility for a favor.
I asked the crane man. We call him the crane man because he operates the crane, and he's a man. I asked him for a favor. I went, crane man, can you do me a favor? Can I borrow your crane?
And he said, no problem. Anything for you, John. And that's not his character's name in the movie.
Anything for you, Candyman. I call you Candyman because your last name's Candy and you're a man.
There you go.
John Candy should have played Candyman. Just kidding.
I've seen fan art of that. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't work for obvious reasons, but...
It wouldn't work for the story.
Exactly, but...
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I think the inner core has some really good stuff. I think I was surprised. I think those two in general, Allie... What's her name? I forgot. John Candy and Allie. I think they have fantastic chemistry at times.
Yeah. No, they really did.
And I was just like, what? How? I was so surprised. Allie Sheedy. And she's pretty good in this. Like, those two, they're really working their ass off, but a lot of the pacing's really fucking bad, too, in this movie. Like, scenes are way too short, and it's just, like, are way too long. It's just, like, all over the place.
I wasn't expecting, like, once he proposed, I was like, oh, this is the end of the movie, right? And then I looked,
like, it's an hour in, and then it's just that fake drama again. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. Personally, I don't mind that it went on a little longer. Like, I like that they it's not as easy as just saying like, yeah, I'll do it, and then doing it. Like it showed like the kind of effort you have to like put in
but
afterwards.
It didn't feel like effort to me in those last 40 minutes. It just felt like the random events, and then wait, I realized I was wrong.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, like, I don't know.
It's just like... this movie's probably the most disappointing out of these 5 for me, because I was watching it at the beginning, and I'm like, I really want to like this movie. Like, there's a lot of stuff going for it, and it's like has some strong areas, and then it's just like fucks it up.
I don't know if I'd say I think it like completely fucks it up. I think it's still, like I said, I think it manages to have that decent enough core, at least for me, to where I could like enjoy it, but this might be like a film that I might like take the fucking scissors to and just cut out certain scenes.
Just make it like a sweet 45-minute movie.
Yeah.
Also, I don't understand how he's like a good at his job when like the only times we see him do his job is like they fucking drop a dead body on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know why they... That scene was completely unnecessary for a multitude of reasons, and it made me think that some drama was going to arise, like she was going to get that body or something. Yeah, because it's like, I'm like, maybe she'll get that body that's like a fucking pancake because they decided to try to lower it down through the window of this multi-story apartment. Yeah, and it's like, maybe she'd be like, oh, this guy's clearly kind of a dunce who doesn't have any respect for the dead or something, and maybe that would have like given some sort of like conflict, but it was like, nope, just nothing, just some antics between him and Jim Belushi. And
it's like, nice seeing Jim Belushi in the movie, I guess, but
yeah,
I like Jim.
It's also nice knowing like the context that like John and John were close, you know?
Yeah, but Jim Belushi's character was bad. Just most of the supporting characters in this movie were bad. I like
John Candy was
the two like drunk Irishman guys.
That was the Greek guy.
What was that?
The Greek guy.
Like that. But it's just like, that woman's racist.
Yeah,
that woman's terrible.
Yeah, it's like
But those are good supporting characters, but a lot of the people on, like, John Candy's family side and, like, his coworkers are just, like, bad characters.
Yeah. No, for sure. But I definitely feel like it was intentional for them to be, like, bad.
Yeah, but they don't do anything with it most of the time. Like, there's very occasional pieces, like he fights his brother, but...
Yeah, I think it's just kind of meant to be about him learning to kind of stand up for himself and against what they're about, but yeah.
Also, I think that when I talk about pacing, it was like a pretty big thing for the love interest, Ali, whatever her name was, her character, that she was like trying to break out of her shell. She does that way too fast.
I agree with like, that one. I felt like she didn't like her capacity to grow was met too early in the movie.
Like literally second scene, like second date, she's fine.
Yeah, and it was like, I'm glad that you found that like confidence boost you needed to like stand up for yourself, because she knows what she wants, and she realized that John Candy wasn't going to deliver it for her, and so she stood up for herself, and she was going to walk away, and then he coerced her back a couple times. But one thing I will say, I don't like how mean John Candy was to Jim Belushi's character in that one scene, and he never like apologizes for it or anything. It's like I get like your friend maybe like dumb in the sense that he's like always thinking about sex or whatever, but he does have like a certain degree of a point. Like sex is a bigger topic than John Candy was kind of like expecting it to be, and he's like just insulted him. He's like, man, I can't wait to go to Florida, then maybe I won't have a friend who has like the brain the size of a walnut. That's like the last time we see his character, and it's like
they're not friends anymore.
Yeah, it's like, well, geez, that was kind of fucking mean.
Yeah.
Like, I get that you're obviously, like, sensitive because you just had, like, a botched wedding, but ow. Like, don't be a dick about it. For no reason, you know, but I guess he was, I don't know. It was just mean. I don't like it when characters are mean.
Just for no reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot more to say about this movie. It's just like a lot of wasted potential for me.
Mm-hmm. I feel it. I think that there's like a decent movie buried within a flawed movie.
Yeah, me too. Okay. What would I give this movie?
A 5?
A 4.
A 4?
I think you would give this movie a 5.
I would. I really want to give it a 6, but there's just those things holding it back.
I really wanted to give it a 5, but
I did really like this movie, and I can see myself watching it again.
Well, then give it a 6.
No, because I think it's a 5. No,
give it a 10.
Absolutely, even more no.
All right, let's talk about Cool Runnings. Yeah, this movie kicks ass. At least in my opinion, I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, no, this movie, I was worried because I was like, oh fuck, I haven't seen this movie in like a bit of a minute, and I was like worried it wasn't gonna hold up, but no, it held up.
But it's by the director of National Treasure, so
there you go. Yeah, no, it's just a great movie. So basically, there's I want to look up their names. I don't know any of the characters' names in this movie.
Derice, I think his name is.
Is Derice the really ambitious one?
Yeah, he's hot. He's played by this guy named Leon. He's like an actor and singer.
Okay.
Leon. So Derice. What is his friend? Sanka?
Yeah, I think so.
Sanka is the best race car driver.
It's like
boxcar? Boxcart, yeah. Boxcart racer in the world or some shit.
Yeah, so it's Derice, Sanka,
Junior. And Yul Brenner, yeah, that's right.
Yep. And then Irv for John Candy's character. Alright. I have that there.
Yeah, so I'd only seen like very small bits and pieces of this movie. So like I knew what it was about. If you don't know, this movie's very loosely based on like the 1984 Olympics, where this Jamaican team started doing what's it called?
Bobsledding?
Bobsledding. I was like, corn. For some reason, corn jumped in my head. And I'm like, corn on the cob. Cob Bob.
There you go.
That was it. But yeah, so a Jamaican sprinter's disqualified from sprinting because he like trips over another guy who falls. And then they all like start a bobsledding team. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And they find this guy, Irv, played by John Candy, who's this like washed up guy who had previously won gold medals in bobsledding. Later revealed during their work to get a third one, he cheated and got disqualified and kicked out and banned and all that shit.
Yeah. So basically, before he had gone through his like dark age where he stopped bobsledding and became like a just cynic for however many years it's been.
20, 18, 16.
Yeah.
16.
He had the idea. He's like, maybe the key to success for bobsledding is having some really fast runners. Who knew? So he wanted to get some like track stars. And there was a certain track star he had in mind, but he didn't want to do it at the time. So
And that's the main
Dries
character's dad.
is his son, and he's like, oh, I'll do it. I'll be exactly what he wanted back then, except now. And he goes, and basically him and Sanka just like bug John Candy, like they annoy him until he says yes. And then they have like this big meeting where they like show everybody in a room, and he shows like a fucking like
Wipeout
accidents
compilation,
reel,
pretty
yeah.
much.
And then everybody goes, and then Junior and Yule show up, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna bobsled, but Yule is like, don't touch me, because he's like the tough guy.
Yo, when I was talking about gay stuff, Junior and Yule in this movie are so motherfucking gay.
Yeah, they are. It's great.
That added to it, though.
Yeah, you're a bad mother now. I love how they just say bad mother, like they don't say fucker, so it's just like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I am a bad mom. Call CPS. But yeah, eventually they make it to they make a bunch of money because one of them's rich and sells his car, so they can get to Canada and compete pretty much.
Yep.
And this is one of those stories where they don't win. It's just kind of a more realistic tale, and it's also based on a true story. They don't win, but they still turn heads. They still are like, hey, we deserve to be here, kind of thing. And I feel like those are... Well, I really like a lot of sports biopics and stuff, but mostly I like things that are like this, that are like, it's not necessarily about winning, it's about making a statement, or it's about being yourself or something.
Because most of the movie is them fighting for their right to represent their country. Because obviously, like, the Olympics, Jamaica is like a small island, you know?
Yeah, they don't have
like,
snow or ice.
Yeah, so, like, everyone just kind of scoffs and laughs at the idea, but these guys show up and they're like, no, we have a right just as anyone else here. And there's a point where, like, the committee tries to, like, change the rules to make it so they can't compete, and John Candy basically, like, goes in and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's like, you're fucking racist.
Yeah, he literally is like, yeah, just the idea of 4 black men in a bobsled really threatens you that much? And they're all like, oh, but nothing. Exactly. He's like, look, if you're pissed off at me, take it out on me, but don't take it out on my guys. They're good.
Yeah.
Give them a chance. And they get their chance and they turn heads. And I like the whole like speech at the end where he talks about like winning, because Dries, you know, we know from early on in the film that he's a real ambitious type. He'll do anything to win. That's like his whole goal. He just wants to like keep rising to the top. Yeah. And he asks John Candy at the end of the movie, he's like, why did you cheat? And he's basically like, I was addicted to winning. Yeah. And once you just won a couple times, I needed to keep winning some more.
Then he says,
and he's...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go.
He says something like, if you're not enough without a gold medal, you'll never be enough with it, or something like that.
He's like, how will I know? And it's like, once you cross that finish line, you'll know. And then it's their final day, you know, they're about to win it, but then their cheap bobsled falls apart.
I was like, because I hadn't seen the ending of this movie, I'm like, did they just die? Because at one point, it's literally like their heads are like scraping. I'm like, oh my god!
Yeah, no, it's scary. And then, it's not that scene, it's earlier in the movie, but there's like a line where it's like, Sanka, are you dead? And he's like, yeah. And it's like...
And then they do it again right there, and they're like, no. And then they get out, and they carry their bobsled to them. And
yep. And everybody's cheering, including the bullies.
It's probably overly sentimental, and like, I don't know. It's pretty good, though.
It's by the numbers, but it's satisfying.
Yeah,
it's good.
If you can do something satisfying, I don't give a shit if it's like cheesy. I like it.
Yeah, no. I think this movie is decently effective, even if it is a little on the, like, just generic side of things, but it's not trying to be overly ambitious. It's
it knows what it wants to be.
Biopic, so I guess not a biopic, but like a based on a true sports story, loosely. But I don't know
what. I was surprised at how effective Sanka was as the comedy for this film. At least for me. Like, most of the stuff he does, I was like, okay, I laughed at, or at least got a chuckle or a smirk or something. Like, I wasn't ever annoyed or anything.
Yeah. The only, like, joke I didn't really care for is, like, the whole, like, I gotta pee, like, right before they, like, did their first practice run. And then at the end, it's like, you can go now. And he's like,
too late. He voiced one of the jellyfish in Shark Tale. Classic role.
But no, I like his Lucky Egg bit. I like his fucking Jamaica's Got a Bobsled Team song.
Jamaica's Got a Bobsled Team.
There's like a full version on YouTube that somebody made that is super racist. Yeah, I put it on one time and I was like, ooh, yeah, because I liked the song, and I like started listening closely to the lyrics of this version. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And it's like talking, and it's like, yeah, we climb up into trees because there's storms, and it's like shit like that, and it's just like, it seems very generalized on what it's trying to get across about Jamaica, and it's just like, I don't really like the tune of this full version that I'm hearing, but I don't think it's official. I'm pretty sure it's just something somebody made on YouTube. But
there are so very gay. But most of the dramatic points by John Candy in this, I think, are done pretty effectively. I don't think, like, I know you said Only the Lonely was going to be like the more tender role, but I was surprised, like, he pretty much plays this role, like, completely straight most of the time. Like, he's not the comedic element at all in this movie. Like, it's only Sanka mostly. Like, occasionally, there's occasionally a joke Junior. Or a Junior.
But Junior's got his own little, like, kind of serious arc that he goes on, including, like, standing up to his father.
I thought that was decently effective as well, a little bit on the generic side as well, but, like, it worked.
Yeah. I like, the elevator scene where he puts his hand up and he's like, no, I'm staying here, and then just lets it close.
And then it was super fucking cheesy, but when his dad was at the... his dad's at the... He's like, I got a shirt! But I don't know. I was like, I like it.
Yeah, it's generic, but it's heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, alright.
And that's fine with me sometimes. I think just overall, I just wanted a groovy time, and this definitely helped me with that.
Yeah. No, I figured you'd like this one.
Yeah. Not a lot of white people either. Well, at least in the main cast. I like the like arch enemy of them, the Swedish guy. I think his name was like Joseph Gruel.
Yeah. Let's see if it says on this IMDb.
He was like, "Go back to your own country." I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's Joseph Gruel.
I like that scene where they're in that like rodeo bar and they get into the fight and Sanka like jumps in going like yippee-ki-yay.
Oh, yeah. Because he's just minding his own business, like, square dancing or something.
With, like, a lady. And they had switched hats.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, sorry, lady, you gotta go. And he just runs off and just, like, yippies
jumps into them.
Yeah. And then I like how, like, fucking Derice is in there trying to scold them. He's just like... But they're like, no, it's fine.
They're just laughing. Yeah. And I was surprised at how effective pretty much everyone's little story arcs are. Even if they're like small, like Sanka's just kind of being a good friend, but he's like, there's a good, like, more serious interaction between the two. Yul Brenner's just trying to like get off the island and stuff, but he's like softening up as well. Like, I think they all were handled pretty well. Obviously, Derice is the main character, but everyone, it felt at least somewhat satisfying. They had a somewhat of a conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
which I can say is more than a lot of these other John Candy movies.
Yeah.
It's just nice that out of all these movies, I saw one at least that, like, wraps things up relatively well, at least. But yeah, good movie. And
I'd agree.
Classic soundtrack. We got a bobsled team. That fundraising stuff was pretty good. It's probably the song could... I'll pay you $1 to shut up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Thomas, you would give this movie a 7. Six. I was being a little ambitious there. I'm like, Thomas is gonna, for once, not hate black people, but maybe next time. I'm just
Didn't I give Moonlight like a 9 or 10?
Maybe. But that was because they were gay.
Well,
they're gay in this one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Junior and
Yul Brynner. They were the foundation for Moonlight. What do I give this movie, Thomas?
An 8. 7.
Yeah, I give it a 7. I do think it has some problems. Most of the problems I don't really need to dwell on just because they're like smaller things. Yeah. It's a good movie. I just wouldn't say it's a great movie. It's just like a really fun time.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. It knows what it wants to be. It's not overly ambitious. Yeah. And it accomplishes what it sets out to do.
All right. Well, John Candy, one and done. Here we go. Next one. So we're going to be looking at 2 animated Christmas movies. One of them came out last year. It's Klaus. And that's J.K. Simmons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the other one is one I've been meaning to watch for a long time. It's an anime. It's called Tokyo Godfathers. I knew you'd like that one. I was reaching for something to go with it. Like I'm like, we need to watch that. So I was like, I gotta find another animated movie. But Klaus, I very much enjoyed when I watched it. So hopefully it holds up. It's very pretty, very good, very good, very good doigt.
I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen some of the behind the scenes for the animation
for Klaus.
Yeah, because it does like a blend of like, it's like 2D, but it's like a 3D style or whatever.
Yeah, it's fun to watch at the very least. Yeah. The voice acting is pretty fun. Another one that's a little on the generic side at times, but we'll see. And then I'm excited for your pick, which I think if it's still what I think it is, it'll be fun. If not, maybe you'll pick. I don't know. We can watch more Rankin and Bass movies. Thomas. I almost picked them again. I almost picked like 5 Rankin and Bass movies today.
Oh, I thought you meant the same ones, and I was like, why?
We're gonna watch them again.
How many Rankin and Bass Christmas movies are there?
And in the early 2000s, there was a bunch of sequels to like old Rankin and Bass movies not made by Rankin and Bass. So like, there's a Miser Brothers sequel and stuff like that. So you're welcome because I could have picked those. So you're welcome. I'm a god. All right, thanks everybody for watching or listening to Screen Weens. If you haven't yet, subscribe to us on YouTube. We're giving away 5 papayas. That's not true. Maybe one day.
Maybe.
We should start doing giveaways of papayas. That'll get us subscribers.
Yeah?
We're going to start selling Thomas's DVD collections.
The fuck we are.
We're going to start giving them away. Collection. Yeah, we can give away my DVD collection. You want a DVD copy of Slither?
Yeah, no.
You want a DVD copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1?
I just picked up like some of the fucking Criterion samurai movies. Like I got the Toshiro Mifune Musashi Miyamoto trilogy. I think it's just called the Samurai Trilogy.
I've been meaning to watch that for a while.
Same here. I also got like Gate of Hell, Harakiri, and what was... Oh, there's one more I picked up.
And we're giving them all away, but only...
Nope.
Nope.
But yeah.
All right. Well, bye.
See you later, sled gods.